So I would call, probably the person I called most was the Secretary of Health and Human Services in Massachusetts. She worked for a Republican governor just to, but you know, when she was like, "Are you going to let them have professional football?" And I was like, "Nope." And she's like, "Okay, neither are we." You know, it was like conversations like that. So, or I'd be like, "So when are you going to think about lightening up a mess?" They're like, "Next Monday." I'm like, "Okay, next Monday."
It's one of those days when I don't really have any notes. I just want to rip on something that's on my mind that is really bothering the stuffing out of me. This video clip that you just saw that I led with is a video of a woman by the name of Mandy Cohen. Mandy Cohen is the former director under Biden, the former director of the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, the outfit that made all of the policy decisions that negatively affected our life during the scandemic. She was the director of the CDC. And in this clip that you saw, Mandy Cohen is talking and laughing about how she made policy decisions during the scandemic. Yes, scamdemic. Are we going to let them have a party next week? No? Okay. Are we going to make them wear a mask next week? Are we going to limit how many? Are we going to have football next week? No. Yeah, I don't think so either. This so angers me because this is a woman who was the director of the CDC essentially telling us, folks, how they made their policy decisions. Now, does it sound to you like they employed a whole lot of science in this? You know, this was an absolute train wreck. They stole from us. They stole from the American people. They stole our rights. They stole our liberty. They stole our dignity. They dropped a hammer on us and held a gun to our back and told us what we were going to do, what we were going to put in our bodies by God, where we could go, when we could go, how we could go, with whom we could go, or who, how many of us could go, how many of us could assemble, whether or not we could celebrate Independence Day or Christmas or Thanksgiving, and if we had a party, how many people could come to our party. That's these people who sat in their positions of power, absolutely abusing said power and the liberties of the American people. There were a few of us, myself included, who said, hell no. No to the mask. No to the jab. I will not comply. I got COVID. I've had it, I know, 3 times. You know what it is? It's a bad case of the flu. And do you know what you do? Here's Dr. Tim giving you some medical advice. Take it at your own pleasure or peril. It's up to you. You know what you do when you got the flu? Here's what you do. It's real simple. And I'm not saying you don't go to the doctor. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I am not a healthcare professional. Maybe I should tell you what I do. If I have the flu, here's what I do. I go to bed. Simple as that. I just go to bed. I make sure I've got plenty of fluids, maybe some chicken broth, plenty of liquid water to stay hydrated, and I just go to bed because, folks, there ain't no cure for it. It's just got to run its course. Now, you can treat symptoms, of course, if you wish. But you may as well just go lay down and rest and let your body fend off this virus in due time. Just go to bed. Just go to bed and let the thing run its course. But these people were and are political opportunists, And they saw the opportunity with this scam that was perpetrated on the American people to show us just how powerful they are and how insignificant we are. Oh, you think you're going to go to the football game? Well, I'll show you. Oh, you think you're going to go to the grocery store and not wear a mask? Well, we'll show you. We'll just make it an edict that everybody's got to follow. How many of you remember how absurd the masks were? I never bought into this crap, not from day one. It was the most ridiculous thing. Here in the South, we've got a grocery chain called Publix. And I don't know if they were the only ones that do this, but they, in their, you would think we'd have a little common sense down here, but in their store, of course, all these businesses were pressured by bureaucracies like the CDC, but in their store, Publix laid down on the floor directional arrows. So that when, you know how you go through a grocery store, you go down this aisle and then up this aisle, and you know how it's laid out up and down and up and down. Well, they didn't want you doing that. They wanted you to follow the directional arrows because they didn't want anybody passing anybody else on the aisle, right? So you got to follow the arrows and keep your distance from people so you won't give them the big C. It was absurd. And I rarely go into a Publix anymore. I remember those days, and I'm sure you Americans do as well. It was ridiculous what we had to do. The businesses, the small businesses that were destroyed, the financial loss that so many Americans had to endure because of these ridiculous rulings issued by half-wits like Mandy Cohen, who sat in her ivory tower with her government paycheck, her government pension, completely insulated from the effects of her own edicts, laughing and chuckling about how we decide, are we going to go to the football game this week? No? Okay, yeah. No, you can't go. We decided you can't go. I got a double barrel from you right here out of camera range, Mandy Cohen. Now that kind of ties in with what I want to talk about for a minute, which is Bobby Kennedy. RFK. Folks, I'm going to tell you, I am a fan of no Democrat. None whatsoever. The last one that I supported was my congressman back in the 1970s. His name was Larry McDonald. He was a good, honorable, brave, decent man who lost his life over the Sea of Japan when his jet was shot down back in the 70s by the Soviet Union. Was that the Soviet Union? Yeah, it was Soviet Union. And the bodies were never recovered. A lot of stories about that, a lot of deep dives you can make on that story. But Larry McDonald was a Democrat. He was nothing like what you would imagine today. Prior to his ascension to the post of HHS director, Bobby Kennedy has been a lifelong Democrat. And I'm going to tell you, Bobby Kennedy somehow saw the light, at least with regard to the, what do I want to say here? There's so many scams perpetrated on the American people, but I want to focus in on those that are associated with health and nutrition, which is in Bobby Kennedy's bailiwick these days, the HHS, Health and Human Services. That's where his focus is. And Bobby Kennedy, this brave man, has basically been booted off the Democratic Party plantation. I don't know if he still identifies as a Democrat or not. I don't know if he went independent or not. I really don't know. I can't believe he would still be a Democrat because his Native Party has basically made him a pariah, as has his family, his own family. Because Bobby Kennedy had the gall, the unmitigated gall, to join forces with the evil Donald Trump. The nerve. And Caroline Kennedy, you may remember, just put out a vile letter when she called this man everything but a child of God. Caroline Kennedy, the daughter of JFK and Jackie, the surviving member of that family. I mean, he is persona non grata with all the rest of the Kennedys, as far as I know. They don't want anything to do with him. It's sad. He is a brave man. He is. The Democrats are such phonies. They're the ones who would utter phrases such as speak truth to power. That's exactly what Bobby Kennedy is doing, has done, and continues to do. And for that, the Democrats demonize him, and a couple of Republicans as well. I'm going to talk about why in just a moment. Bobby Kennedy has identified people such as Mandy Cohen formerly of the CDC. He has identified corruption in his department, the HHS. He has identified scams. He is wise to what's been going on, and he has been firing people left and right. I mean, Donald Trump hit a home run with at least two people. One is Tulsi Gabbard, as far as I'm concerned, and the other would be Bobby Kennedy. I can't believe how great a job Bobby Kennedy is doing, and I cannot believe how brave he is and how he just fends off attack after attack after attack. I want to direct your attention to what happened to him this past week. Now, you can go to social media, YouTube or wherever, and you can easily look up these Senate hearings where Secretary Kennedy was called before the Senate. For what particular reason, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But he was called before a Senate committee to answer questions about life at the HHS, I guess you would want to say. So he's being grilled by senators such as Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Senator Bennett, I forget his state, Senator Cantwell, and on it goes. And you can go and watch these proceedings. I watched a lot of it, not all, but a lot of it. These people are shameless, and they are merciless toward Bobby Kennedy. They are vicious. They're out for blood. One of them told him he had to resign. And you got to go watch this if you haven't seen it. This brave man, Bobby Kennedy, who has somewhat of a speech impediment, as you probably know, but he did not back down. He dug in his heels, and everything he endured, he slung right back at this bunch of phony baloney hypocrites that were sitting on the dais, these honorable, esteemed Democratic senators and a couple of Republicans. And they tried to charge him with all kinds of malfeasance and all of this. Tried to catch him in a trap. And here's what was happening, folks. Here's what was happening. All of these senators are in the back pockets of the pharmaceutical industry. That's what's happening. I'm talking about Moderna. I'm talking about, my Lord, what are their names? I got them on the tip of my tongue. I don't need to recite them. You know who they are. All of these pharmaceutical companies who come up with all of these vaccines, such as the COVID, the jab, that was the thing that always bothered me was the speed of development. But all of these senators have received ungodly amounts of money from these pharmaceutical industries and corporations. And that's who Bobby Kennedy is doing battle with, the pharmaceutical companies who are making billions of dollars off of the backs of the American people by padding the pockets of their bought and paid for politicians. And Bobby Kennedy had the guts to call them out on their hypocrisy. And that made them all the more angry with him. Bobby Kennedy exposed the hypocrisy of these politicians, these mostly Democratic politicians. He's done this before. He did it with Bernie Sanders. He exposed Bernie Sanders as being, Bernie Sanders always talking about, out of both sides of his mouth, the evil rich people, the evil corporations, and all these evil people accepting money from all these evil corporations. And Bobby said, what about you, Bernie? You accept all these hundreds of thousands of dollars from the pharmaceutical corporations. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Bernie Sanders, Maria Cantwell, Bennett, all of these politicians, mostly on the Democratic side, but not all, who take all of this money from pharmaceutical corporations, and it was the pharmaceutical industry that was in bed with the politicians and the bureaucrats in places like the CDC and Health and Human Services, who made life a living hell for millions of Americans. And it is time somebody stood up to these criminals, these crooks, these thieves, these hypocrites, these phonies, and Bobby Kennedy is doing exactly that, and thank God for him. Mr. Kennedy, sir, I applaud you. You are at least a former Democrat that I can support. I don't know if you still are or not, but I applaud your bravery. By the way, this guy is 70 years old at least. I think he's over 70. Have you seen him with his shirt off, guys? He's ripped. I wouldn't mess with him. So this video is simply a tip of the hat to Bobby Kennedy for your courage, your bravery, your principles, and your willingness to stand up and do the right thing. There ain't no Kennedy around that has to do anything for money, including Bobby. So why would he do this? Is he tripping on power? I don't think so. I think he's trying to right a wrong. And he is terminating these hypocritic crooks left and right, and good on him. Keep going, Bobby. That's all I've got to say. There you have it. That's my rant for the day. Thanks for watching, everybody.